Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobes show. I'm Richard Vobes. It's my show. And it's Monday, the 1st of June. A new month. I think we're in summer now, aren't we? I know I was having a debate with Mr. Suggett about whether it was the summer solstice on the 21st of June that tells us we're in summer, or the 1st of June that tells us we're in summer. Or, in my book, it's the blooming weather that tells you you're in summer. Yes, it is summer, and we are going to have, hopefully, a nice summer. Although I think gardens everywhere in the UK, especially in the south, could do with a bit of water. Actually, that reminds me, I must go and water my hollyhocks and my poppies as well. Good evening and welcome to the Vobes Show. Lovely to have your company this evening. Let's find out who is out there, the early birds in the Vobosphere. We have the lovely Julia, we have Judith, we have Eddie, we have Days of Yore, we have Jen's Allotment Adventures. Ed Loud is there, Ron Langley, we have Glastonbury Gabriel, Mike Dixon, Mark Donny McLeod, Ed Ovett, to name but a few, and others I'm sure will be fast swooning to us. Amanda Suggett says, "Hey up, I'm in disguise." Oh, hello Amanda in disguise. Or is it Richard in a dress? Who knows? Who can tell? Who cares? Mike Stevens is there. Michael Angel has just turned up. Spring. It feels like summer now. Here we go. March the 21st. To the June the 21st. March, April, May, June is spring. So there we go. So there is room for debate, and that's what we nice. That's what we nice. Richard Upton, hello to you. Thank you for coming along. It's wonderful to see you. Now in tonight's show, we do have some videos. We have a couple of videos from leftovers, and I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is we've got some fantastic videos from last week that we didn't manage to get into this show last time. And we've got another terrific first-parter from lovely Glastonbury Gabriel, who has sent in a very intriguing part to his heritage trail. So that I nearly said hysterical trail, but it is hysterical, but it's a heritage trail of Glastonbury. The lovely Julia says, "I've watered half of mine, but I'm wrangling the kids into bedtime routine, so we'll finish later. Let's hope they go to bed." Go to bed, children. Don't make it difficult for your mum. Poor old Julia's been up since 5:30, she tells me. 5:30, slaving away, mopping and cleaning and washing and polishing, and that's just the inside of the car. And then she's got to do all the outside and the wheel trim and inside the old exhaust pipe, and each individual spark plug has to be gleaming. It's difficult to do the spark plugs on an electric car, although of course spark plugs are electric. So I don't know why electric cars can't have spark plugs. I mean, they may not actually throw a piston up and down, but or at least ignite the fuel that throws a piston up and down, but it would just be, a sort of thing that makes you know that it's a good thing. Although I think she's got a hybrid car, so it probably still does have spark plugs. Anyway, I'm talking rubbish. On today's show, I thought here's an expression that I hate, and I want to say something else. Well, I don't want to use the corporate. Forget that. Not going anywhere. In the future, I was going to say going forward, but I hate it. I hate the corporate speak. Going forward. We're always going forward. But in the future, I would like to... there's many things I want to do with the Vobes show, but I never seem to get time, or it's the last thing on my mind because I've been editing or doing other things and getting the Bald Explorer working. But I would like to have a little bit more structure to this show. So I want topics that we can discuss so that you have an incentive to call in and talk about the topics. So today's topic I've chosen at random is, what do you wear? What do you wear? It's not sort of so much fashion, but it's what do you wear? Are you somebody who has a look? And are you comfortable with your look? Or are you somebody who doesn't really have a look? Or do you not know whether you've got a look or not? So I kind of have a look, I have a look, I think, for the Bald Explorer, my public face, if you like. I have a public face. And for example, this red jumper, which is now very holy, and the lovely Kevin Hall has bought me another jumper, which I've yet to wear in a video, and I have worn it on here. But this red jumper is wool, and I've been desperately trying to find another wool jumper like this that matches. This I got from Next, but I didn't get it from Next. It's a complete and utter... Look, if I do this... Oh, no. If I do this... There we are, look. There's the hole. There's a hole there. And round the back, there's holes. I still wear it in my videos. Just is my look. It's my look in the videos when I'm out walking in the green countryside, the blue sky, red jumper. Now, you may have noticed, if you've seen in the Bald Explorer group, recently posted a still from one of my In Search of Sussex videos where there was a Mini, or it's a BMW, I know, but let's call it a Mini for the sake of argument. I know it's a BMW in the shape of an inflated Mini. It got a bit hungry. But let's call it a Mini. A post box, although it's not a circular post box, but it's a post box on a stick, and a K6 telephone box, all in poster red. What is it? Post box red? Whatever it's called. So, it's, you know, these are all classic things. Classic things have a classic look, and red just works out in the landscape, sticks out and what have you. And as a filmmaker or a video producer or whatever I am, I've got an eye. Well, I've got one eye. I've only got the one eye. I've only got this one eye. And it's important having an eye for the overall look and style of a thing. Now, there's a lot of people who make videos and they don't really give the look and the style any thought. You know, they may be competent on the editing and even some of the shooting, but often they don't give any thought to the overall look and style. And I'm very much trying to. I've got a blue tweed jacket, which I absolutely love, which I have to say thank you to Jeff Kellison, who right at the beginning of his incredible generosity, donated money towards purchasing that. And I always have had a sort of tweedy type jacket because that was a look. But the blue tweed takes it away from the old-fashioned tweed. It sort of makes it a little bit more, I don't know, more modern, I suppose. So look. Do you have a look? Have you got an image that you portray? I mean, obviously you have. Everybody's got, they're saying something in what they dress, but are you aware of it? That's what I want to discuss on the show tonight, as well as showing videos. So, of course, you can give me a call and tell me whether you're aware of a look that you have or whether you want to know what your look is. And I can tell you, if I know you and have seen you, what your look is, which would be fascinating to see. So, you know, because some people I think are just not aware or think that it doesn't matter or whatever. But of course, your public face really does matter. It says something about you, and it is worth knowing what you say to the public. And of course, the public are not just really one body of people. It's made up of lots and lots of individual people. And so individual people will have a myriad of different ideas. But it's whether you feel comfortable in how you look. So give me a call if you have a look, or if you're uncertain about the look, or if you think that you know a look that you want but you can't carry it off. Often we have a feeling that we want to look, not as in facially, but there's sort of a style or a look or a thing. You know, some people might want to have the Doctor Who look or feel, or a sort of you know, fictional character look. You see people dressing in you know, like goths will have a look, and skinheads will have a look, and bikers, the Harley Davidson mob, for example, they will have a certain look and a theme. And I guess there's a lot of this is to do with pop music. People will have a certain grunge look, and what have you. And there I start to get a bit confused because obviously I say obviously, but I don't really pursue pop music very much, or popular music. So I'd be interested to know what your look is and what it says about you. Give me a call, giving you a reason to give me a call, because we have an actual topic to actually talk about, which makes a huge difference. So let's have a look at some of the comments then before if I can find the mouse. A lot of people saying hello. I go for clothes myself, yes. Can you still get topics? Says Mark Donny McLeod. Cloud. I imagine when the newsagents open, you probably can. So you're not going for the Best Dressed Man award this year, Richard? No. I don't know what the criteria would be to be the best dressed man. And I always think things like that are a bit of a misnomer, because who's saying who's the best dressed man? It's like doing a driving test. That's what I would say that would be. You know, when you do the driving test, you're driving to impress the instructor or the inspector. You're driving to pass the test. You're not driving for driving conditions. You're just driving to pass the test. And I would, so you know, your hands are going to be here, aren't they? They're not going to do what you're actually going to do, and you're not going to speed up at the wrong point and all these things that where you know you have to do it in real life. In real life, is a different thing than passing a test. And I would say exactly the same. Going for the best dressed man is then you suddenly go, well, what's the criteria to be like that? Oh, I've got to do that to impress that. So I would think that's a bit of a misnomer and not actually a thing. So I would never participate, which is why I don't really do competitions. I've never really gone in for these competitions to win things, because what are you actually doing in a competition? Let's see who's called into the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi. Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Vobes. This is I, Glastonbury Gabriel.
Ah, Glastonbury Gabriel. Now, what kind of look do you think you have?
Well, I thought you've gone to the effort of having a theme. At least I could do is ring up and discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, by the way, my mum's watching tonight. I
Hello,
got my
Mum.
mum to come along and watch. Please, yes, do say hello.
Hello, Mum. What's your mum's name?
Joan.
Hello.
Joan, stop.
Hello, Joan. Now, Joan, what does your son's look? What is your son's look? How would you describe your son? And
Don't ask.
And has it got better over time or worse?
My mum will tell you at great length. There are certain looks that I purport to use that she will actually refuse to go out with me.
Right. Okay. That's fair enough.
One of them is I used to have a collection of Doc Martens.
Right.
But the patent ones.
Okay.
So bright pink, bright yellow, bright orange, luminous green.
And shiny.
But then I would, yes, patent leather, you know, like almost like highlighter colours.
Yeah.
But then I would mix and match. So I'd have a green one and a yellow one, or a pink one and a blue one.
Okay.
At the same time.
Yes.
Now, I don't see why you should have to wear two shoes at the same time.
Well, you don't have to. What would you mean? So you would have one shoe on and one shoe off?
No, two different colours. Why do you have to wear a pair of the same shoe?
Well, no one says you. I mean, in this day and age, nothing seems to be there's nobody's frowning on anything, or if they frown on it, well, you know, what I mean is you can't be challenged on it in theory.
You can't go out and buy a pair of odd shoes, as far as I know.
Well, that's the thing. Imagine going. If you could go to a shop and say, I'd like a red one and a green one, but I think of the problem if they were saying, well, we've got red and green, and you go, I don't want red and green, I want red and yellow. Oh, we don't do that range.
I want yellow on the left.
Yeah, exactly. But
because living in virtually Shoe Town here with Clark's around the corner, one of my fellow councillors, lovely chap, used to get very irate with me because I used to wear odd shoes, and he was connected with the shoe industry. And he said, you can't be doing that. You can't be wearing odd shoes. And then I just sort of persuaded him one day by saying, well, look, think of it this way. To do this, I have to buy two pairs of shoes. So therefore, the shoe industry is getting two pairs of shoes out of me, not one. Yes, absolutely. And he went, wow, you might have a point there. I mean, the fact I got them from charity shops or eBay, just neither here nor there, I was buying them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't wear four shoes all at once, so they're going to last the same time if you just bought the two shoes and then wore them out and then bought another two shoes. But again, nobody minds.
Nobody minds, no. I mean, I said to you on Friday when I spoke to you, I went through a purple phase.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think my mum saw much of me during that period. She probably would have hidden then as well.
Yeah,
But
I don't blame her.
It's interesting because the different sort of generations have different views on what is right and wrong, don't they? I mean, kids nowadays, I've had people come up to me in Glastonbury and say, "Can I take a photograph with your shoes on?" You know, because I've got odd shoes on. It's been a bit of a feature. And I know one year we have a Mairing Sunday when the new mayor is, and we go off to church and we come back, and there's pictures of me parading down the high street in my whistle and flute with like lime green and bright pink shoes on.
So tell me, do you do that to shock people, or do you do it because you just genuinely really do fancy the different colours on your feet?
I like the colour. I like to play.
Yeah.
I don't like conformity. I like to play with things. You know. So,
yeah.
You know, somebody says you should do it this way, and I'll go and do it another way because I can. Yes, that's for me. But yeah, I mean, like the jacket. When I'm trying to wear the jacket every time I go out and do a video because it gives people a hook, doesn't it? You know this. You do videos. You've got something to latch onto.
Yeah.
Almost like it's not like a gimmick, but I think you could call it a gimmick. You know.
Well, I think something that I think if you're in TV, you will have somebody who will design what you wear. And by design, I don't mean draw it out and cut it. You know, they'll take you shopping and they'll say,
yes.
You know, what this is your style and this is what's going to work and this is how we want you to. You know, there'll be a joint conversation, but you'll have the costume designer who will say, yeah, okay, but if we do it in this shade, it's going to be more striking and in this background. And it's something that people think about. Now, I know that when Mr. Suggett was doing his Veg Grower podcast, we were chatting about this sort of thing. And he hadn't really given it that much because I said, you just look like you're a mess. You go out there and he said, but these are old clothes. And I said, yes, I know they're old clothes, but you could wear old clothes in that are stylish, that just look, that match in a subtle way, that make you look right.
Windswept and interesting.
Yeah. And so then we started to look at, famous gardeners. And I don't know many famous gardeners, but there was, Richard or no, I can't remember. There's this one guy whose name now escapes me. He just wears cord or linen, and he wears jackets and just a blank T-shirt underneath or something like that, and a floppy hat occasionally and what have you. But he would always wear similar styled clothes. You would always see him, even though he never got down and did anything, and always talk about the garden, but never seemed to actually do anything as far as I
They often do.
Exactly, because that's how TV works. You know, the minions come in and dig up the thing, and then they'll just catch him at the end, putting his jacket back on and going, well, I've dug those 52 acres, and it's only taken me an hour. And, there's not a sweat on him. But I think that's important when you're doing something in the public eye, which is why I did mention that. And that's why I think your jacket, it becomes part of you. Look at Columbo and his raincoat.
Exactly.
It's as you say, it's a hook. It becomes something that you identify with that person. Monty Don, that was the one. Yeah, Monty Don was the one I was thinking.
I remember him.
Yeah. So and Alan Titchmarsh, they suggested there, was very sort of very Granny's favourite, very sort of cardigan-y and woolly.
They often are though, aren't they? I mean, what's that guy that everybody loves? He's a classic FM presenter now. Oh wow. All the women swoon over him. What's his name? He's a gardener.
Is he? I'm not up with many gardeners, I have to say. So
no, I'm not. But him. Yes. And there was, of course, from your old stomping ground, there was Percy Thrower.
Percy Thrower, yeah. What now?
He was Shrewsbury, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. There's he did the dingle.
He did.
He laid out the dingle in Shrewsbury and the house that he lived in there. But I can't actually. I mean, you're going back there to when was he around the 50s, wasn't he? So it was very formal.
Yes.
But
he was sort of with a tweed jacket, wasn't he? And like the shirt and tie. He was old school, and I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got your snazzy jacket, which sort of does do you. Although we're going to play a trail in a minute, and suddenly I thought, who's this funny bloke? Shaved head, no hat, no jacket. I thought, what's going on here?
Well, what it was, that's what they call a lockdown trim. I did that with my beard trimmer.
Did you?
It wasn't very good, but it was good enough to go out in.
Yeah.
And I listened to what you said about hats and glasses the other day, because I did have a hat and I did have glasses, and I was wearing it backwards because I had problems with shading and the dynamic range with the shading on my face. So when you said that, I just dropped the glasses and the hat because it made sense to do so. But I had just been out and bought a nice red shiny cloth cap type thing.
Well, it depends how. I mean, in this sunlight, the sun that we've got, where you would want to peak, is the shade is, as you say, is too dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
But whereas where it's a little bit overcast, the shadows are a lot less, so you can get less of that heavy darkness which covers your eyes. And I think that one can play exactly what you said, play with these things. Whereas, if you're doing your classic walking shots, that from a distance, when you're far enough away, you could stick your shades on and look cool and, get the jive as you're going down the road.
That's it.
And then just, as you come to the camera or whatever, you're doing a piece of camera, you can whip them off. So I still think, and the hat you can just take off, or just knock it, or it depends on the light really. I think with that, but the glasses, I just think people want to see your eyes. But when you're a certain distance, and you're not necessarily expressing words,
that makes sense.
You can, I wouldn't get rid of them completely because you don't want to lose part of you. And for God's sake, don't listen to me.
No. I mean, I do listen to other people, other videographers, because that's how you learn. You learn by listening to other people and trying things out yourself, didn't you? And that is a learning.
And I do it all the time. And what's weird is, I tell you, the funny thing is, I will watch other people who may only just get going on their and they'll do something that's maybe they've seen somewhere else and they're copying someone, and I'll just think, oh, you swines, I like that.
Yeah, or Casey Neistat. Everybody copies Casey Neistat, don't they?
I don't watch much of him, so I can't copy him.
He set a style that many, many people follow. Many, many people. And I'm trying to avoid that. Much as I like that style,
right?
With all the speeded up video and all that, but it's just no. I think too many people are doing that. You've got to strike out and find something that's your own, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very old school, and what I'm doing at the moment with the Search of Sussex, where it's on the tripod and stuff. It's very simple graphics, very, it's just, I've always regaled against whizzy graphics, because when I worked in the corporate industry doing videos for people, it seemed that they would just seem to be very impressed by, we want something, flashing. And I would just say, but what do you want to say? What is your message in this video? What are you talking about? What's the story, basically? And they say, well, we want to tell them that this mug, is the best mug in the world. And I said, well, if you if you make it too busy and all the rest of it, they're going to be greatly impressed by all of that, but they're not going to know anything about your mug.
Yeah, another one is too many flashy transitions.
Yeah,
that spoils it. Let's play with the transition palette. Let's see what we can do.
I mean, I barely use I use a crossfade and a blur fade. Yeah. And the blur I use only at a very specific point when it's a time passing type thing, or we've moved somewhere else. You're sick, when you do a transition, you're again, it's like a chapter in a book. It's chapter 4. We've gone to this chapter, and
exactly.
And a crossfade, I suppose, is a bit like end of the paragraph. But I rarely use a crossfade. An ordinary crossfade, I rarely, unless I just can't make the cut look nice. So
because a good hard cut is unbeatable, isn't it?
It's unbeatable.
Done hard cut,
unless you've got a shot that just doesn't, two shots together.
Movement into still or still into movement can be a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Going back to your Search for Sussex, which I'm loving. I'm loving the filming. I'm loving the quality. I'm loving the camera work. Could you put the 3 words back in? The beginning of each one, please.
Yes.
'Cause I missed that.
Yes.
And if people who follow you on a map, it's bang, you're straight there. It's really good for that.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot. Because the trouble is, once I've templated up the opening, And and it was templated in, so I would just go, oh yeah, what's the situation? Where is it? Oh, it's down there. Blah blah blah. 3 words go in, bang, you know.
Yeah.
And the newer the opening for the In Search of Sussex, which is the more sumptuous version. You're right. Actually, I hadn't even noticed that because I was so busy thinking, right, okay, where does the In Search of Sussex come? And then there's the sub one, and then there's the subtitle rather, and then there's the part bit. Yeah. And they tweak slightly, and I'm just replacing odd shots of the opening sequence with me walking with the most recent one so that people can be referenced and go, oh, well, yeah, he went up on the downs. All that sort of psychology is going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And I completely forgot, you know, and that's the thing is you don't have a producer who overlooks it and says exactly what you said. What about that? And you go, oh yeah, I forgot that. And it's so easy to do. It's so easy to do it. But yeah, no, I will.
I'm loving the work we're doing. And the other thing I think is great, the 3 days a week both show. I think it's a brilliant move.
Yeah, I need to
you've done the distance. Plus, it gives us producers an extra day to make each video rather than try to do it every day.
Well, it's the evenings. It just means I can spend more time on a project because I've got those few. I haven't got to rush to do this. But anyway,
exactly.
I'm going to play your video now.
Oh, I'll go away then. Ta-da.
No. It's just, we're 8:20. We're 8:26, and I want to try and keep these to an hour.
Yes.
I want to do Monday an hour, Wednesday an hour, and an hour and a half on a Friday as a bonus.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, I'll clear off and I'll have part 2 with you for Wednesday.
Fantastic. By the way, it did look really good, and I like the idea of the map using I presume it's Google Earth or something.
Google Earth and then overlays using a ranty publisher.
Yeah.
Avid publisher.
Yeah. And the audience are going to see it in a second. We also got Barry's video and Mike Dixon's video in today's show. But lovely to talk to you, Gabriel.
Quick one for Ed Loud. I have got the purple top hat. I will be wearing it in the video soon. He did ask me.
There we are. The new look.
There you go, Ed. Okay then, Richard. Nice talking.
Nice to talk to you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There we are, lovely Gabriel. I could talk to Gabriel all night, I think. I guess when I get over to Glastonbury and we find, I don't know, a pub or whatever, I dare say we will be chatting endlessly about all sorts of video and stuff. It is really great when when you meet somebody who's on your wavelength with and it's usually something that you're doing. I don't know what it's like for women, and I don't mean that to be sexist, but women can often talk about kids in a way that blokes don't talk about kids, I'm guessing. And often blokes will, they might be sharing sport or they have something, and it's just a great connect. So thank you for your comments. I'm going to come back and have a look at those in a minute, and then we will chat about. I'm very keen on what you think your look is. That's the topic for today. But let's have a look, first of all, at Glastonbury's, and then we'll look at the other videos as well. So going into the video box. And Gabriel says this is a new series. And you remember he was chasing the mill stream over the last few weeks, which was fascinating to see. And this time he's on the Heritage Trail on Glastonbury. And it's actually very interesting and very well produced. But here we are. This is the new shaven look with, remember, a beard trimmer, he said. Take it away, Glastonbury Gabriel.
Hello, welcome to Glastonbury Gabriel's videos. Today we're looking at the Millennium Trail. So what is Glastonbury's Millennium Trail? Good question. It was set up 20 years ago, funnily enough, on the Millennium, and what it does, through a series of 8 plaques on the walls and 20 direction markers on the floor, it guides the visitor around town, showing where all the historical and points of interest are. So I'm off now to start the tour, which is down there. But before we do, let's have a look at a map and see where everything is in Glastonbury. Here you can see an aerial view of Glastonbury, and up at the top there, that's the Tor. The area lit up in green is the Abbey precinct as it is today. However, at its height the Abbey precinct was larger and extended north to the High Street as shown here in red. Running to the north of the Abbey and shown here in red is a quick view of the High Street. To the eastern side lies Chilkwell Street, shown here in purple. There are many high status properties here built by the good and the great of Glastonbury in times past. As we come to the southern edge of the Abbey, we are at Beer Lane, named after the last abbot who was hung on the Tor. Shown here on the map in green, it is the home of the Abbey Barn. Finally, we come to Fisher's Hill and Magdalen Street, and this completes our circle of the town. It is at the end of this street that we come to the first plaque, outside Glastonbury Town Hall. It was built in 1818 after a larger market house that had almost filled the whole road in front of it since the mid-1600s was pulled down. This had a much larger market area, a jail and a courtroom above it. The court was used as a school, the town hall for a while, and as a silk factory. The arches on the ground floor of the town hall were originally open for market stalls. I was a councillor here from 2015 until 2019. The council chambers are the windows on the top floor. Right next door to the town hall is the entrance to Glastonbury Abbey, famous the world over. Back in the day, the Abbey was the big cheese in these parts. Not content with that, they were also the largest landowners in Somerset. The Abbey itself was enormous and one of the most important in Europe. That is until 1537 when it was pulled down by Henry VIII's lot. To the left of the town hall and forming today's entrance, we see one of its medieval gateways and the Porter's Lodge. Around 100 years ago, that gate was blocked and, together with the lodge here, it formed the Red Lion. When the Abbey reopens and I have sold an arm and a leg to pay for the ticket, I will do a video from the Abbey. Thanks for watching part 1 of the Millennium Trail. See you for the next one. Bye.
There we go. The wonderful Glastonbury Gabriel. I don't know why I always stumble over the Glastonbury part. But marvellous. Super duper. Thank you very much. There you go. Lovely, well put together video. And interesting to see the other side. And actually, when I watched that the first time, because obviously I watched these before they go out, I hadn't really taken on board that with the Abbey ground, one great big square, and of course the town had infilled it to make it the west side, I suppose, as we looked at it, the square that you had on in red, that it's one great big square. I hadn't really appreciated that. I've only been there for 3 days and don't know it terribly well. But yeah, no, how interesting. Thank you very much for that. So just wanted to go back over some of the comments that came in. And whilst we do that, let me just see if anybody wants to call. Andrew Norris says, I subscribe to the Eric Satie, is it Satie's philosophy, 12 identical suits. Yeah. And that's a funny thing, isn't it? Because how many times have you had a jumper or a shirt or an item of clothing, dress, whatever it is, and you just think, oh, if only I'd bought 2 or 3 of those at the time, because you can't get them now for love nor money, and you just love it, but it's worn out. How many times? And yet, when you go to buy something, you don't think, oh, maybe I'll buy 3 of these, because you don't know you're going to love it. You don't know that it's going to be your favourite item of clothing. Alan Smith literally wears the same thing every week. Never actually see him get down in the garden and do anything. Just walks around talking, says Ramiboo. I'm not sure who Alan Smith must be. An American gardening presenter, is he? I thought Rennie Magritte did too, but I could be wrong. I've got a suit, says Michael Angel, with big arrows on it. I only wear it when I visit Her Majesty. Oh yeah, to keep in with Her Majesty's pleasure, of course. So what have I missed beside gardening fashion? Well, we're just talking about people's looks, whether you've got a look, whether you've got a style, and whether you know it. And you know when you put something on. Isn't it funny? You can put something on which perhaps somebody buys you or you've ordered, and when you get it, you just know it's not right. And yet, so you might have a coat and you think, well, I normally like puffer coats or whatever it might be, and you put it on and you go, I don't know, this puffer coat, there's just something not right. There's a feeling, isn't there, that comes with certain clothes. Now, I would imagine, let me put it that way, that women are more acutely aware of clothes that work and don't work. And of course, women can mix and match a lot more than men. Men's choices are limited, for one thing, and also men do tend to have more sober colours than women who would wear lots of bright colours, unless there's something about your personality that you are portraying as more outgoing, I guess, and brave. I struggle if I'm buying clothes, but then I buy quite a bit of my clothes from charity shops because, well, there's the cheap factor. There is definitely the cheap factor, but also sometimes you just find things that you wouldn't find currently available. Hello to the caller calling the Vobes Show.
Hello to the Vobes on the Vobes Show.
Hello.
And hello to the viewers. It said loud.
Is it really?
Yes, I'm being very loud.
Good man. So what is your look?
Well, I've got two looks. I've got my kind of walking on my own look, which is normally a blazer or a suit jacket, a pair of jeans, and some comfy walking shoes. And
excuse me, just picking at my eye. It's a bit puggy tonight. Sorry about that. I'm just apologising to the viewer. I know you're not seeing that, but I apologise for that. So is that what you wear just naturally?
Yeah, that's kind of like going out for a walk on my own, or meeting someone, going to the library, going to the shops.
So it's quite a nice, smart look, isn't it? Wearing a blazer.
To a point. I think the jeans are normally a bit scruffy, and I'm sort of wearing they're like a cross between a trainer and a boot. So that's kind of what I go for. Often wear braces.
Oh, do you?
Yes, and there's a funny reason for that. For people who haven't cottoned onto the old story yet, I was a carer for 14 years, was pushing a wheelchair around, and you can't really pull your trousers up if you're pushing a wheelchair. So I just found braces were a great alternative. Sometimes I did quite sporty things with the wheelchair as well. I pushed it on a marathon, and my granddad used to love all that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'd have to go to the extremes of wearing jogging bottoms with braces. Could you believe it?
No.
And
you were doing that. You went for them because it was a practical thing, but presumably they've become part of your personality now, so that you wear them when you don't necessarily need to wear them. You're wearing them instead of a belt.
Exactly. I've gone back to a belt a little bit since I've not been pushing the wheelchair, but I really do like the braces. I just need to get a new pair.
And when you say braces, I mean, there are the clip-on braces. Then there used to be quite a trendy thing in the 80s, wasn't it? Everyone was wearing these trendy braces. Or there's the more traditional braces that go on to buttoned trousers.
I like the button ones. I do like the button ones. I used to know a place in Jermyn Street that did the buttons, and then a few shops down was where I went to get my straight razor, the old open razor that I shave with. So
quite a traditional sort of, you're a traditional sort of man with the the razor and the whole paraffin. I can imagine that you would be, if it was healthy, or we went back 20, 30 years, you'd have a pipe.
Yes, indeed.
And wear a trilby.
Although I as I say, I blend that with the new. I wear kind of a cross between a trainer and a boot. And
Right.
Actually, there's a close-up in a video I've already got made. So in about 3 or 4 weeks, you'll see a close-up of my trainer boots. And they're quite modern and hip and everything. But I have quite strange style. But then there's the second style, which is going through an adaptation at the moment. And that was my more sporty style. If I was doing a marathon pushing the wheelchair or walking 10 miles with the wheelchair, something like that, then it was more of a scruffy look. It was jogging bottoms and braces with the jogging bottoms. And
is that really a look, or is that just practical clothes?
Yeah, I think it just come around because of practicality. Because, doing things like that is not easy. And if you're wearing jeans or smart trousers, they start to rub and things like that. But if I'm only walking 2 or 3 miles, then blazer. And if it's really, really baking hot, then I will take the blazer off. And I like cufflinks. That's the other thing. I do like cufflinks. Right.
Okay. So then let me ask you a question then. You've shaved your head.
Yes.
And that's different to how a very different look to how you were before.
Oh yes, and a few years ago I had long hair halfway down my back.
Okay, so here's the question. Here's a question. Do you wear t-shirts?
Yes, I do wear t-shirts.
Now I can't wear t-shirts. I mean, I wear them. I wear a t-shirt in bed, for example. And I'll wear a t-shirt if it's on a promotion that someone's paying me. But generally, I won't wear a t-shirt outside in front of other people. And the reason is not that I've really got much against a t-shirt, because they, some people suit them and some people don't. I don't like the fact it hasn't got a collar.
Yes, I'm with you there. I don't mind polo shirts.
No, I don't. I'm wearing a polo shirt tonight with a collar under the jumper. In fact, I'm going to take the jumper off shortly because it's actually stifling. I only put it on because it was my red jumper and I wanted to start a show with it. But the thing is, I find a bald head and a t-shirt with no collar or a shirt with no collar looks wrong, feels wrong to me. Now, I know other people have said, no, that's nonsense, Richard. But it just feels wrong to me. Whereas it only has to have the collar, and somehow it's because there's no hair that it sort of sets off the bust of your top half in a way that just feels comfortable. Because otherwise there's too much neck, and then there's this tiny little bullet-like head on the top of the shoulders. And it just seems to be, it's so difficult to put this into words, really. But
I think I like layers, and the collar or an open collar will give you a layering effect.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Yeah,
it just gives it perspective.
Yeah,
it's like the difference between 2D and 3D.
Layers is very much. Yeah, that is very much it. Some people.
The only other thing I can add to my look is a very peculiar thing. Someone might get a chuckle out of this, but when you get a jacket for a suit or you get a blazer, the buttons on the cuffs don't undo. And that bugs me no end. So all my suits, all my jackets, the cuff buttons have to undo.
Right.
And if they don't undo, I'm not wearing the thing. And the reason being, I don't like buttons just for show. They have to do something.
Oh, I see. So in other words, if there's buttons on there, you'll just take the buttons off.
I just don't like them. I'd rather have no buttons at all. It just seems a bit over the top. Everything I wear has a purpose. My braces have a purpose.
Yes.
I don't sort of... the reason I like shirts is because you can undo them without messing up your hair. I had very long hair at one time. So everything with me has to have a purpose.
Put it over your head. That's interesting.
Also you can roll your sleeves up that way. And, if you're doing a messy job, if you're cooking or using pastels or paint, you can roll your sleeves up, which is rather handy. Oddly, though, you're paying a lot more for the tailoring, so you're paying twice as much to look twice as scruffy.
Yes, that's the irony of fashion these days. The lovely Julia.
Anyway,
the lovely Julia says, "I look younger in a t-shirt. I just don't feel comfortable."
Exactly. If you don't feel comfortable, you're not gonna be yourself, are you? You're gonna
No.
feel edgy, and it'll spoil your day. But I do wear t-shirts for practical reasons. But I'm with you there. I don't like going out in a t-shirt. In fact, if I've got a t-shirt on, it will be as an undergarment underneath something else. It won't be the final layer.
Right.
I just can't. I can't bear to do that.
No, no. I mean, I have got a black, fairly tight t-shirt, but it's got a collar on it. And I like it, and I love it. If it's got a collar on it, it's got a collar, it's fine. It's just, that exposed bit round the nape of the chest or whatever. I just think it looks thuggish.
The only t-shirt I've ever really liked, particularly, was a t-shirt with a hood, of all things.
Okay.
And again, I think it gave the layered effect, and I felt more comfortable.
Yeah.
I've never seen a t-shirt with a hood.
No,
that one.
No. Right. Well, I'm going to go and play a video now. But thank you so much, Ed. That's really interesting what you were saying. It's a fascinating subject. And this is what I want to try and do, is get topics which everybody has an opinion on, and everybody's opinion is different and valid. And so, you know, if people want to suggest a topic for Wednesday that you know, is not going to be just for a limited number of people, then that would be fantastic.
Fantastic. Well, I think by Wednesday, it's a long story. I've had so many issues with my latest video, and I've just this minute, as Gabriel's video was on, rendered it, and I was so happy. So I think Wednesday, my topic will be dancing around the room that the videos finally worked.
Excellent. All right.
Anyway, I better go.
Yeah.
Have a lovely day, everyone, and thanks, Richard. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. There we go. Lovely Ed Loud. So, I hate button flies. Yes, button flies. I just, you know, when you're out filming in the countryside and you get caught short and you need to sort of do the call of nature, button flies are a pain, especially when you want to be swift. You want to be, right, there's nobody coming, I'm just going to dive in here, and it's like fiddling around with this sodding, but oh, for God's ping. Oh, now it's come off, hasn't it? Now it's, where is the, you know, in the vague hope that, oh, I'll sew it back on. You never sew it back on, do you? It's like the shirt button, ping. It's like, oh, I better keep the thing and I'll sew it on. It never gets sewn on. Never gets sewn on. Right, let's go and have a look at a video and see what's what. So thank you very much, by the way, for sending in the videos. Please do keep them coming, even though we've got a topic. But they're nice little icebreakers and changing of things, and they, of course, can be on whatever you like. Just keep them down to around about 2 minutes, which would be fantastic. So we're going to go to Barry and Faden. And to be honest with you, it's last week now. Oh, hang on a minute. Phone call coming in. Let's find out who this is. Hello to the caller calling in on the Vobes Show.
Hello, Mr. Vobes.
Hello, Mr. Suggett.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you.
I've got a bone to pick with you.
Okay. Now listen, with your bone,
Yep.
Can I play this video and can I get you to call me back in a second? Well,
Yep, okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, no problem.
And you can then really have a good old go at the bone digging thing.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Thanks, Richard.
Cheers.
Bye. So that's how to avoid an angry caller who's got a bone to dig with you. I know he's going to say that I thought he looked like he's got old man's clothes on or whatever it was I said. Anyway, Barry and Faden, and I'm just trying to rack my brains to where they are, but they'll tell you anyway.
Today we're at Avesbury, Wiltshire, and we are also going to be exploring some ancient sites. And behind me is Silbury Hill, and it's also got a very nice lake or stream. Church of St. James. Started about 7,000 years ago, and it also lasted about 2,000 years ago. I could imagine the tribe like making jewels and pottery, and then trading with the other tribes. I could imagine like them walking along the path that we're on at the moment. If you can see that, you can't really see that.
There we go. How about that? Fantastic. How marvellous is that? Avebury, very mysterious place, and all those ancient trackways, and of course the burial mounds. Now, any second now, Mr. Suggett is going to call in and have a go at me, and I've changed into one of my official it's on that side, Bald Explorer outfits that we wore at the Tractor Fest. So I don't mind this. I don't mind wearing that, although it does look a bit, for me, it's like you're on a commercial stand when you wear one of these sort of things. And I just don't feel there's not much character to it, printed T-shirts and things. But anyway, here we go. Let's find out what this bone is. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Richard.
Now, you got me worried.
What was it you said, that I was a mess?
I didn't say that you were a mess. I said that you...
Oh, yes, you did.
Is that what I said?
Yes, you did.
Well, that's effectively what I did say to you, though. I said you're just wearing old clothes.
You were a bit more polite, but all my clothes are old, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of us can't afford new clothes,
Wait a minute. You're the one that's... Hang on. You're the one that's working. Both of you've got a missus who's got a job. You've got a job. You're furloughed. I appreciate that. And I'm the one who hasn't got a job, who goes out begging for money from making YouTube videos. Wait, what are you talking about? And I get mine from the charity shop. And what are you talking about?
Yes, but I'm quite a bit bigger than you, especially when it comes to shoe size, and it's impossible to buy shoes in my shoe size at the best of times.
Yes. Okay. Well, it wasn't the shoes I was really referring to. When we first got together, and I was sort of saying, you want to up your style, mate, because you said, well, I mean, the conversation, as I recall it, was, I said, like, you're a mess, but I put it in a polite term. You're wearing. Why don't you have a bit more style? And you said, I'd not really thought about it before, but I'm gardening, aren't I? And then you did go out with your missus, and you told me Amanda said she wants to thank me for getting you to dress in something a bit more stylish.
That's right. Yeah, she was trying to persuade me before you did.
Yes, but it took me to persuade you so that you could then wear something that Amanda actually liked you wearing.
That is true. I grant you that.
Well, you don't want to do it for me. You should be doing it for Amanda. She knew what she was talking about.
Yes, I can. Well, she's watching in the other room, so I can hear her yelling at me right now, so.
Well done, Amanda. That's what I say. So you see, you've got to listen to. I mean, Amanda clearly could see that you're just wearing any old crap in the garden, and I understand that from the practical point of view. But my point of view was like, you're on a screen. You are representing. You are the Veg Grower podcast. Monty Dom is the whatever program he was in, the Monty Dom gardening dig up or whatever it does. And my point was, you don't want to just look like any old gardener. You want to look like you.
Yeah, that's why I look like a mess, because that is who I am.
Yeah, and Columbo looked a mess, but he did it in a way that was unique to him. So he didn't look like any other person. So what I'm saying is, you can look if you want to look a mess, then do something with your hair, purposely just exaggerate the not till you're Wurzel Gummidge or anything, but just wearing any old clothes and saying, well, that's me because I'm a gardener, isn't the same as doing it as I mean, look at anything in the medieval period that's done on the telly.
I don't watch telly, so I can't really.
No, but I'm sure, or in films, anything that goes back to like the medieval, where you ought to be seeing people covered in mud and grey and with all their teeth not done and their hair, but what you see is very carefully manufactured to look like that. So they actually, the women still look stunningly beautiful, but somehow they're a mess. Yeah, but it's not that they're not really a mess, because then they'd just be old hags, or not necessarily old, but they would. And so what I'm saying is, there's an artistic way to make you look like a gardener wearing old clothes, or that's what. Yeah. And so that was my point right the way through. So I was trying to be helpful, but sometimes you just got to say what's the truth.
Yes, well. that was fine, but saying it was a mess today, sorry, Richard, that's blown about now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Have I offended you?
No, of course not.
Well, you're very well. I mean, you're very welcome. You're very welcome to be offended. I wasn't intending to offend, and of course.
I was just pulling your leg.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't, because I've only got the two.
Yeah, well, I've got to make you squirm.
But you don't look a mess now. I mean, that's the difference. Now you've got a style, and your whole game is well and truly up.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, that coat I wore at the time had so many holes in it I didn't even see. It was just grabbed it and went. So it wasn't until I watched it back and saw these holes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, I've worked in television and stuff, and you hadn't, and all I was trying to do was say, look, these are the things that people think about, and you're running a channel, and I'm your friend, and I'm trying to help, and I was just saying, well, here's something to think about. Of course, you could just turn around and say, well, sod off, Richard, I just want to wear old clothes, and it's like, fine, it's no skin off my nose. Ooh, no one wants skin off the end of their nose, do they?
No, of course not.
No. So, but yeah, no, you're very welcome. I mean, nobody. I have got strong opinions. People tell me I've got strong opinions. I never think that they're as strong as, and I put them over very strongly. And I do have strong opinions, I suppose. But but I never expect anyone actually to have to listen to them or take any notice of what I say. And I'm always amazed when people get a bit upset. And it's like, well, you don't have to do it. It's just me. I'm just getting it off my chest. The only way I know how to do things is to waffle it out.
You're good at waffling.
I'm very good at waffling. None of it makes any sense. As somebody said to me, he says, Richard, you're very good at spitting out, but you don't know the facts. And I thought, well, whatever. You don't have to listen. People don't have to listen if they don't like it.
Yeah, well, that's the whole Brexit debate again, isn't it? So...
Well, but it's in anything.
Yeah.
People often seem to get. I don't know whether it's something now in the modern psyche that people get very offended very quickly by. Not somebody. I mean, I was okay. In that case, I was having a go directly at you, but. Earlier today, I did a podcast, and somebody said to me, you basically, you don't know the facts, so you stick to your walks. And it's like, okay, but I'm allowed to have an opinion, whether it's right or wrong, and it wasn't directed at the person who didn't like it. And if they don't like it, they don't have to listen. And I just think, just because I may not know the facts and I have an opinion on something doesn't mean I can't say the opinion. And people are very, people just don't like what you're talking about or subjects. People get very uppity, and it's like, so what?
Yeah. Well, like I say, it sounds like the whole Brexit debate. People would say that people who voted for Brexit didn't know the facts, but either way, they voted the way they wanted. So exactly. Some people want people to conform in a certain way, or just don't understand that some other people have a different opinion, and they can't accept it. And we see that, I think over the last 5 years with Brexit and now this coronavirus, I mean, these are things that have made people, people have got thoughts and they've gone and done their own research in different ways, and they may not follow what the rest of the world follows, and they may have their opinions on that. And then other people seem to get, oh, no, you're rocking the boat, or I'm being challenged by what you're saying and I can't cope with it. And it's like, oh, for goodness sake, you don't have to listen to it. Turn it off. If you don't want to hear it, turn it off. Oh, yeah.
It's very odd.
Facebook experts.
Yeah, I mean, I Facebook is another. Why anybody puts anything on Facebook? I put my videos on Facebook, but why anybody puts an opinion on Facebook? Because you're just going to get 100 people who have the opposite opinion telling you that you're wrong. So why do people do that?
Oh, because there's also people that agree with them, but they want to hear the people that agree with them. They want to hear the people that...
Well, they just want everybody to agree with them, don't they?
Yeah.
And, so somebody will go, oh, I'm very upset with this, or I did this and this is what happened. And I suppose everybody wants to go, oh, poor you, poor you. Oh, it's a shame, it's a shame. And then somebody else will just come in and say, well, maybe you shouldn't have gone in there, mate. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't want that opinion. Oh, no, I don't want you to tell me where I've gone. No. It's like, well, if you didn't put the bloody thing up in the first place, we wouldn't have this. Anyway, we're getting off the topic of clothes and things. So what? Yeah. So do you feel that you've got a look now, Richard?
I would say I would say my look is sort of jeans or combats and t-shirts, and that's what I'm comfortable wearing.
Yes.
And
And
my t-shirts have no collars because I've always worn t-shirts with collars at work, and it's always been a work uniform with collars. So when I'm not at work, I don't want to wear it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's understandable. If you go to work and you're in a shirt and tie, when you come home, you may not want to wear a shirt and tie, sort of thing.
Yeah. I think it's that sort of thing. Like the t-shirt you're wearing at the moment, to me, with that collar, that's a work t-shirt.
Yes, I don't feel comfortable having the logo on it because it's too. I feel like I'm on a branded stand, and and talking of looks and people who are doing YouTube things, and we've had this conversation, and my opinion is, like, here am I'm wearing something that says a Bald Explorer, and on the back, as people have seen, it says the Bald Explorer. Now, I'm the Bald Explorer. I don't feel I need to wear anything that says I'm the Bald Explorer. I mean, I've got two of these because we did this at Tractor Fest, but I hated because it's like when you have your T-shirt on with your logo. Personally, I think that's what your minions wear. Your team wear that because you're the Veg Grower. The Veg Grower podcast doesn't need to wear the Veg Grower podcast branding because he's the Veg Grower podcast in my mind. The Bald Explorer doesn't need to wear the branding because he's the Bald Explorer. Monty Dom doesn't wear "Hello, I'm Monty Dom" written all over him because he's Monty Dom.
That's because everyone knows who Monty Dom is.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. The talent, the person who is the thing that the show is about, like the Queen, doesn't need to wear, something saying I'm the Queen. She's the Queen. She's got a crown and all the rest. Everybody else would wear, all the flunky stuff and all that supports her. So that's why I'm just wearing this to illustrate it and what have you tonight. But ordinarily, I would hate to wear anything that says Bald Explorer on it because I don't need to because I am the Bald Explorer.
What about mugs then on that conversation?
Well, I'm not a mug. I'm not a mug, am I? You don't wear a mug. I mean, I don't wear a mug. I don't wear earring mugs or a nose piercing mug or a mug on my breast or anything like that. So it's fine having merchandise that's not me, but I don't need, when you put an item of clothing on, it becomes part of you. You and it are one.
Okay.
Do you not agree?
I've never looked at it like that.
Well, when you put on a shirt, you and the shirt are suddenly the thing. You are now one thing because when you move, the shirt moves with you. It doesn't suddenly stay there and it's not part of you. It's part of you. A mug is an independent, I've got here an old glass. It's got Spitfire, which is a beer. I don't drink beer really anymore, but I don't know where I got it from. I think we were given these. And so that's branding for a product, but I'm not the product. So, or even if that was my product or the Bald Explorer cup, that's fine. I can have the cup, but it's not me.
Right.
But you don't need to. I don't think the talent needs to wear something that says, "Hello, I'm the talent." Because the talent is that, your look. Columbo is Columbo. He's got his jacket and what have you, and that's his identity. He doesn't need to wear a T-shirt saying I'm Columbo, because it's just so naff. To me, it's just like, that's naff. But people with him might go Columbo, have it on their T-shirt because their support. It's effectively saying we're with him, we're supporting him. So I just think the support and the fans and that will wear the merchandise because they're buying into it. But the talent doesn't wear the merchandise. It's just a ridiculous notion. And as I
Yeah,
say,
I mean,
I've got very strong opinions, but they might not be right. I might be wrong, but that's how I think.
My only counter argument to that is that I found if I wear a t-shirt, people ask me where they can get a t-shirt from. If I don't wear it, I don't get asked.
Well, that's fine. But, I'm not saying you can't, you mustn't. I'm not saying you mustn't do it. These are just my opinion. I'm putting my opinion on the table. You can agree and disagree, and it's absolutely fine. And if it works for you, carry on doing it. I personally don't agree with it, but it doesn't matter because if it works for you, then that's great.
Yeah.
But then I would say that your identity then becomes you and your logo you're a walking logo. That's how I would see it. Whereas I don't want to be a walking logo because my logo is actually me anyway, so I don't need to be.
Well, yeah, I was going to say you are the bald explorer.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Anyway, we better show our last video of the day because 9 o'clock's been and gone, and as ever, I've overrun.
I was going to say you've overrun. It's an ongoing habit, isn't it?
Yeah. Julia's ushering me along again now. Any more video? Yes, we're coming on to Mike's video now. Bless her.
Nice work, Julia.
Yeah, good for us. All righty. Well, nice to talk to you, and I'm glad that bone hasn't been whacked on my head too hard.
I was just.
I know you were. No, it's fine. Absolutely fine. It's fine. You're welcome to. Good stuff, Richard. You take care. Look after yourself.
You too.
And have you, before you go, have you got a video out that we can all go and watch after this?
I've got one that's uploading at the moment, but it's been a bit slow at the moment. So
check back later on.
That came out. Yeah, there was one out there's a couple out last week anyway, but this is one.
Well, we'll just check the site, shall we? Veg Grower Podcast. Yeah. Check it out. Great videos from Richard Suggett. There we are. Take care, Richard.
Take care. Cheers, buddy.
All the best. Bye.
Okay.
There we go. Didn't mean to cut you off at the end there. Right, so Mike Dixon has sent in a video, I think connected with his fish tank, if I remember rightly. But as I say, it's been a while. Let's just see what happens if I click on the relevant button. Are we in the right? Yeah, well, I think we are, actually. So, Mike Dixon, thank you very much for sending this in. I think this is a little bit of relaxing therapy. Let's have a look, see what he has sent in.
Hello, it's Mike Dixon and Bella. I'm just looking at our fish tank, and Bella's already taken herself to bed. It's around about 11 o'clock in the evening. I just thought I'd share with you our fish tank. We have a cat called Foxy that likes to sit on the arm of the settee and watch the fish tank. I think she'd like to eat the fish, but thankfully she can't get through the glass. There are 4 fish in here, 2 that are kind of suckers that clean the gravel and clean the glass, and then two other fish, which you can just see there on the right. We feed them every other day, either goldfish flakes or pellets that they and the sucker fish can eat. It keeps them healthy. The sucker fish on the bottom, you can see his whiskers. I zoom in, he's hiding away down there. That's the male. And the one on the right is the female. So we're hoping that one day we might have baby suckerfish. We haven't had any yet. But Foxy, our cat, loves watching them. Must we admit we do as well. It's got a relaxing thing to do. And the research is that it's kind of tuning us into nature. Like there are something with cats and dogs. Man has lived with dogs, trained them for hunting and for companionship and for herding sheep and cattle for 14,000 years apparently. And cats have been domesticated for some 10,000 years. And the research is that it releases a whole load of our neurochemicals, serotonin, oxytocin, lowers cortisol and dopamine production. These things are actually very, very therapeutic. But it's only now that kind of scientists can find out what's actually happening inside us. And particularly they use EEGs, which is electroencephalographs, which are connected to our brains. And they can actually, you know, kind of monitor the brain signals that are taking place when we observe these things. Anyway, I thought I'd just share it with you. Very relaxing, very pleasant. Okay, well, look, I'll pass you back to Richard. Take care. Keep safe. Bye.
There we go. The fish tank vision, a vision of loveliness. And as I think Beach Writer 8 said there, says, lovely tank, has it got a heater? And I don't know if you noticed right at the back, Mike's put him an old kettle element in there and can boil up the water lovely. I'm sure that black and white fish was a rubber thing. I don't know whether that was a real fish, was it, Mike? But imagine if you believed in reincarnation and you actually came back as a fish, and particularly that black and white fish stuck on the side there. I don't think I could cope. You know, I just couldn't cope not doing anything. I think, you know, he must be a bit like Stephen Hawking's fish, isn't it? Just sort of sitting there thinking. Must have got a big brain inside that fish, I'm guessing. Anyway, thank you very much, Mike. Very interesting looking at a fish tank for several minutes at a time. But anyway, you know, if you want to send in a video, then we'll be only too happy to play it in the show. It's all good fun. Which is great. So just to go over some of the comments and things and what we were talking about, I think, where was the comment that I read from Connor's Dark Corner? He says, at the moment, because I don't have any subs, I feel... And of course, if you've got a fish tank, you can have a little sub in a fish tank. People do that, actually. But I think you mean subscribers, don't you? I feel wearing my channel name will help people find me. And, you know, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. I just got an opinion and you've got your opinion and that's absolutely fantastic. And why wouldn't your thing work? I just think if you're running a channel or you're running a thing where it doesn't have to be a channel, but it can be a singer or an author or something where you are up front in it. So your channel might not be, it might, some people make channels and they're behind the camera, so you never see the person, so it doesn't matter what they wear. But if you've put yourself above the parapet and you want people to look at your stuff, my opinion, my humble opinion that I will force down your throat, is that you've got to be unique. Because when you watch the professionals, there is something about them that makes them unique. Look at the iterations of Doctor Who. Perfect example. Each Doctor Who is unique. They look very different. They're strikingly different than the previous one. And what does that say? You want something that's easily recognizable from the rest. And I think that's a sensible way to go. If the professionals do it and it works for them, that's what I would want to be emulating. You don't see very many of the professionals with the T-shirt saying, I'm such and such on, unless that's the look they want and to be a walking logo. But, you know, everybody needs to do it their own. And I just think that people will have their own look in real life, whether they're doing a YouTube channel or doing, you know, just walking to the shopping centre. Hello to the caller calling in.
Hello, it's Sean James Cameron.
Hello, Sean James Cameron. What's your look?
Now, I've missed a lot of the show because I've been on the plot.
Oh, up on the plot.
So I've caught the last 10 minutes.
Well, I've lost the plot.
Point of view.
Mm.
What's your view? Is it to have one main channel? Because I've been finding old channels that belong to you, and I think I found about 3.
Mm.
So what's your view? Have one main channel, throw it all on there, and the viewers can decide if they want to watch it, or have like a gardening channel and a lifestyle channel and keep them completely separate?
Okay. So this is quite specific. And I know that there'll be some people who will go, oh, hello, this is getting a bit technical. But I'll go along with this. It's just, I'm just aware doing the show that some people will go, hang on, they're just talking channels. But this actually sort of comes in, I think, with the same thing about the clothes that you wear and what it says about you. So here's my thought. When I started, I thought, oh, I've had a YouTube channel and I've got all sorts of junk on it, which I was just shoving up.
Yeah.
And I had about 450 subscribers, which over 5 or 6 years or 10 years or whatever it had, you know, for reasons best known to themselves, they had subscribed to the channel. And then I started to do the daily videos, and I thought I ought to put them on a different channel. And there is actually a channel called The Bald Explorer, as opposed to the one I use is just Richard Vobes.
Yeah.
And The Bald Explorer just had very short 5-minute videos on it. However, nobody knew it was there. And I spoke to my son Stanley, who is a millennial, and he does web graphics and was into games and was sort of a bit more in the know with what these things work, you know. And I was an old fogey. So I asked him, what do you think? He said, well, nobody knows you on the other channel. You've got a channel where at least you've got some gravity going. He said, I would shove everything on there, and then as it progresses, just don't put the other stuff on that channel, so it just turns in, because you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years' time. So that's what I did, and that's what I am doing. But then the Vobe show sort of started, or this show, let's say this stream show started as the Bald Explorer show live.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I was being a bit silly and being opinionated, and I thought, well, this actually is different to the Bald Explorer branding. And some people who might like the walks, you know, on a sedate afternoon, will go, oh yeah, I like him when he does his walks. That's nice. I do like that. But they wouldn't want me doing my Kenneth Williams impressions live. And I thought, oh, it's still me, but it's 2 parts of me. So I thought, well, I'll actually have one separate channel for the Vogue show, which only has 560 subscribers or something, and is
I only found out, I've been watching your main channel, since March, but only found out about the Vobes show a few weeks ago.
Right, and I don't
because it just happened to say to me, would you like to watch this video?
Yeah.
And this is an area that I've always struggled with, because I got to 35,000 based on gardening, and in the past, when I've wanted to diversify and go into other topics, the audience hasn't allowed me to do it.
No, because they get very upset.
Yes, but back in March, I just thought, sod it, everything's going on to the one channel, and I just accept that some videos do really well, and other videos don't
Yes.
do really well.
Well, I think, I mean, if you can change them into playlists, and so you can give them a playlist. So I mean, everybody gets, at the moment, they'll get everything on. Well, they don't get this show, but on the Bald Explorer, which is my main show, the one I spend the time and effort on. I don't really spend any time and effort on this one at the moment. This is growing, and I want to see where it's going to be. So it's a bit of a, and lockdown made it suddenly have quite a few more viewers. But I do put things into playlists on the Bald Explorer. But what would be great for if YouTube would say, okay, you can have several channels but under the same brand, so you haven't got to build each channel up, and so that people could opt in, or opt out, if you like.
Well, I'm part of the YouTube research group, so I get called in once every 6 months.
Yeah.
And I get shown what YouTube are going to do in the next 6 months. And I give my feedback from a creator's point of view. And I've suggested in the past, why don't people subscribe to playlists?
Yes.
So if you wanted to subscribe to my gardening, you could subscribe to that. If you wanted to subscribe to the walking videos, you could do that. And they just said, we think people are intelligent enough just to subscribe to the one channel and decide what they want to see.
I mean, you see, if you put it like, if you as an individual have a number of different things. So on the one hand, you like jumping out of aeroplanes and you make videos about skydiving. And on the other hand, you also like horse riding. Two different things. Yeah. And perhaps the audience won't cross over. But it's like the BBC. You can be, I'm the BBC, and on BBC One, I do this type of programme. And on BBC Two, I do that type of programme. Now, each BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Three, etc., could be the playlist, as you say.
Yeah.
So that you could go, well, I like the BBC, but I like playlist 1 and I like playlist 2, but I don't like the other crap.
But it's quite, because I've unsubscribed from channels based on a video that's popped up. And it's taken me quite a few months to realise, that was that same guy that I quite like.
Right.
And I've had to go back to find them.
Yes. I know, it is, well, it's irritating, and I don't know what the answer is, but it's sorry, go on.
But back in the day, when you could earn cash from every single channel, this wasn't an issue.
Right.
But now there's restrictions. You've got to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So I think it's even more difficult to have a channel now.
Well, it depends.
To have a channel to make it work.
Yes, I suppose it depends how you're making your cash, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I get adverts on mine, but it's so tiddly money, really. It's just like, well, it pays the milk, it's the milk bill, as I would always call it. So I don't think of that as my revenue stream, and mine is based on the patrons, and it's an ever-growing thing. And so the patron...
Well, I'm thinking about going back into TV in the next few months because the income from YouTube has now got to a level where it's quite dangerous. And so I'm actually thinking about going back into TV.
Well, it's nice if you're in a position to be able to just nip back into TV, because, not everybody who runs a channel or whatever is going to go, oh, do you know what? This isn't making me enough money. I'm just going to nip back into TV and get another 100,000 a month in, and then I can swan about on YouTube. To me, I get up. It's like this morning I was up at 5 o'clock, and I should be probably going to bed about 11 o'clock, and I'll be up again at 5 tomorrow. And I'm working on my channels and doing all the stuff. But that's, it's what you do. It's what you do when you are trying to build something. And I have a 5-year plan. I'm 3 years into my plan. I've got another 2 years to go before I then say, is this worth pursuing?
Right.
Because... it's like building any business, and this is a business that you can't go to the bank manager and say, I've got this business idea whereby I make something that I want to make, and I'm hoping that people will give me money. Because it's not a recognised way of doing it, except that's, effectively it is a recognised way because buskers do it.
Yes. Well, I don't want to get too technical because I know the time's going on and everything, but something to consider is Amazon Prime. I know some YouTubers that are making quite a bit of income through Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Because the Americans just love anything to do with England.
Yes, well, they can certainly tune into to my channel. But no, I have heard about Amazon Prime. I'm aware of it, but at the moment, I'm sticking to my 5-year thing, and then I shall revise it at the end of that. And because I need to give this a proper go, and there's a lot of stuff that I've built, and it is growing. I mean, I haven't got the audience that you've got. You've got an amazing audience, 35,000 subscribers or whatever it is.
Yes, but I feel quite small because everybody. So I was in the top 3, and I enjoyed that for about 7 years, and sort of took my eye off the ball. And now everybody that was at the same level as me are now up to 100,000, and I'm having difficulty getting to 36.
Yes. Well, you took your eye off the ball, didn't you? You can't blame everybody else, can you? I mean, if you take your eye... I mean, that's the thing. It's very easy to get complacent. But it sounds like you've got this lovely get-out clause that you can just go and do a bit of telly when you like.
Well, yeah, for a few months until I'm bored of that industry, because that industry isn't as good as it was in the past. No,
well, I know. That's why I'm not interested in television now. I used to be. That was the be-all and end-all, but I got into it, and I soon realised that actually it was it's old media now, and I'm not interested in it, and the audiences are tiny.
Yes.
And it depends, I like working. That's the thing, and I'm happy to get up at 5 and go to bed at 11, and I love what I do, and I love being in control. And I love being direct to the audience, and they can tell me, if it's crap or whatever, and I can take that or not take it, and exactly. So anyway, I've got to go. Because I finished half an hour ago. I don't know if you noticed. I finished half an hour ago, and it was great. I've just had a nice bath. I've had a Chinzano. I've had a little back massage. It's been lovely. But of course,
maybe you should get a T-shirt saying,
"Yeah,
I'm going to finish at 9 o'clock."
I don't want to. Yeah, great.
Anyway,
take care, Sean. All the best. Bye. Bye. There we go. So it's certainly nice if one can just say, "Oh, sod the YouTube. I haven't got enough people. Let's go do a bit of television." No, I've got to keep working at this. And I love it, and as you know, I love it, and I think that's what comes across. If you love something, and people will gravitate. It takes time, and you've got to keep going. So there we are. Anyway, the main topic was clothes and what you look. Thanks for the videos. We need a topic for Wednesday. Do send your suggestions, richard@vobes.com. If you've got a topic that you think would be great, send me a thing, and we can discuss it on Wednesday. Give me some time to think about it, and we'll discuss a topic on Wednesday. In the meantime, don't forget to send your videos in. The information to send them is in the description. And have a great evening. Sorry it's gone on for an extra half an hour. I'm sure you've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed it, so, whatever. Take care, look after yourselves, and thank you so much for all the comments. I shall go and read some of those now. Apologies if I haven't read out your comments, but it's all good fun. Anyway, I must go. I must go. Take care, look after yourself, and we'll be back Wednesday. I'll take that off. Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Look forward to it. Till next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Now, where did I put my nice corporate nightwear?